For this week's project, my mom is making a ornament in the remembrance of a pet. So she's using a little wood plaque that we got at some point, along with some fabric. Now, to start out, my mom used one of the guides that we have to make a circle as close as possible to the size of the little wood panel. After, she traced it and cut it with the small scissors, and then she added some interfacing. Now, here's where the first mistake came in, because she was putting the interfacing with the shiny side up, so then it meant that it would get stuck to the iron, and yeah, it just makes it a little bit messier to work with. But as you can see, we save a lot of the scraps whenever we do any type of project, just because you never know when something else might come up that we might be able to use it for. We're really big on just being sustainable and also keeping things affordable. Like everything is expensive, so saving those little scraps helps us kind of be able to keep lower prices on all of our products in our small shop. So when it came time for the circle, my mom wanted to try and make it as small as possible so that it would fit up against the edge. So she marked it with basically like placing the circle in the middle, and then marked it so that when she folded it, she could just make that cut at all times, and it would be completely circular all around and fit almost exactly to the little wood thing. One of the first steps that she did was to poke it with this little it's supposed to be used for doing the little snap buttons, but you can just make the hole with something else too. Like even if you put like one of the thicker needles in there, you poke it around and you wiggle it, it gives the same effect. The idea is just to try and make a space so that you can push the ribbon through. Now, this struggle of pushing the string or a ribbon through a small hole is definitely something I'm familiar with. So I totally understand that. So if you do have the option to use the second option of just using a tool where you can just pass it through, I would highly recommend. Now, in between everything, my mom did have some assistants, which you might have noticed in the background already. So we've got Newbie and Teddy. Teddy, who is always trying to seek out his mom's love. He's very, very persistent. And usually he does get a couple of kisses in. So, yeah, they just have a very sweet relationship. Even though he is past the kitten stage, he loves his mom and his mom loves him, but she definitely wants her own personal space sometimes. But she doesn't want personal space when it comes out to helping my mom make DIYs or do one of her videos. You'll often see her hang out when my mom is doing the Wrapped in Faith in Spanish videos. So we have wonderful helpers with all of our projects. So to make the lines for the writing that my mom was going to do, she used pencil and then used a stencil to help her figure out where to write so that it would be nice and straight. Making that hole in the middle first really just helps aid to know where that center is. Otherwise, you might end up with the words on the side and then try to figure out how to plop it in the middle. So making that middle marking definitely helps, keeps things straight. And of course, if you also have a cat at home and you try to make an ornament for yourself, just know that there's a high chance that they might try to steal your ribbon, your elastics, anything that is in sight. As you can see, it really brings all the cats to the table. Now, after writing things down and adding in a sweet quote with the name and also Bowser's passing date, then my mom was able to start with the pens. So the pens that we're using, they're typically used in, I think of them like manga drawing sort of thing, but they can actually also be used on fabric. Obviously you can't do really thick markings with it, but they're great for making the finer little details. So before you commit to it though, if you are doing this project as well, I would just recommend, as you saw my mom do, try it out on another piece of fabric that's the same, so like a little scrap even that you cut off for making the circle, just to make sure that it has the right thickness for your writing type. So for instance, I tend to write very small. I don't have the pretty cursive letters that my mom is able to do. She's been studying calligraphy a little bit more. I I just tend to make more just caps lock from just training I took on AutoCAD. So the architectural size, that's kind of what I write with when I do have to make things clear. So I don't have the prettiest handwriting, but for my mom who has the nice cursive options, then she's able to use that. Now after letting it dry out for a little bit, she was able to just erase off all of the markings from the pencil, and this eraser is awesome. It's I'll try and put the actual name if I have one that still has the cover on it, but it really helps with getting rid of the line. Then to add a little bit of character, my mom did also add some charms, which I think was just such a beautiful touch. This is something that you couldn't really do if it had been left as just wood and you would just write on it. It would just not look the same. But by making it in fabric and then attaching it to the wood, it gives more versatility in what you're able to do. Now, of course, because these are charms, you definitely want to pick out a thread color that matches the color of the fabric. So in my mom's case, it's like a little beige color, so then the thread is also a little beige color. Always try to make it match so that it looks nice and polished. And as you can tell from the drama in the background, Teddy is still trying to get his mom's attention, and he made her run away. So now he's just stuck in assistant mode with my mom, which of course my mom doesn't mind because we just love having company whenever we are crafting, and we know to anticipate all of their participation. Now, after my mom was happy with the way that the fabric portion came out, then she added some glue to the wood panel, and yes, that's a lot of glue. So if you wanted to, you could also keep the glue in the container and then use that brush to slightly, just to make it a little bit more even on the surface itself. Now my mom, by accident, she ended up putting some glue on the top of the ornament, which was not intended, but once you kind of do that, there's no going back. So ideally you would put the glue on the surface itself, so the hard surface, and then also to the back of it, so that you can really make sure that it sticks, and then you can put something heavy on top to make it be extra strong. Now, because my mom put glue on both the wood panel and the top of the fabric, then it made it a little bit more challenging, and it just was a little bit more chaotic with all of the glue, and of course there's more room for some cat hair to make its way through in the project, but just keep on, you just make it work and carry on. A lot of DIYs is just making mistakes and working through them. So once my mom was able to pass that ribbon through, then it was just a matter of making it nice and even on the actual surface right in the middle. Which I think when you look at the ornament at a face value, you might think, oh, it would have been easier to just put the string at a later time. But then if you did, then it'd be harder to figure out where that hole is. So it just kind of make it work and enjoy the process. A lot of the DIYs we do, it's not fancy. It's just kind of day-to-day things that come up, and we figure out some DIYs to make them happen, whether it's something we see out and we want to replicate for ourselves on a more budget-friendly, or we just have a problem that we're trying to solve. And since my mom did have the glue situation at the top, she did use it's like a back of, let's say, a brush, just using a flat surface just to put that pressure to attach the fabric to the wood panel. Then after, a lot of people, at least from what I've noticed, will do the ornaments and leave them with just like that plain string. But my mom, again, was trying to make it extra special for the person that lost their pet. So she wanted to add a little bell, because we know cats love bells, and it just makes it a little bit more special. So she added the bell to then be able to create a sweet little bow for the details. And yes, now that Teddy has left the table, the newbie is back to help with the bow making. So lots and lots of love went into this little ornament. And then in the end, just adding in some glue to help the bow stay in place really just helps solidify the longevity of this adorable little ornament. We hope that our project inspires you, so that if there is somebody in your life that's going through such a loss, such a great loss, you have something that maybe you are now able to create for them to keep as a reminder of their pet's love towards them.